If you're running a retail business, don't let disorganized order fulfillment cause chaos. Use ShipStation instead. From running a business out of your garage to multiple warehouses, ShipStation is ideal for every phase of your growth. Save time with one login for all your stores and by automating tasks. Plus, you'll get the best shipping rates from global carriers. Calm the chaos with the shipping software that delivers. Start a free trial at shipstation.com/audio. That's shipstation.com/audio.
Every leader knows that growth starts with a single step, or sometimes a single insight. Our Paper Napkin Wisdom newsletter is designed to deliver those insights straight to you. It has already helped so many others, so why not make it your next move? Sign up at papernapkinwisdom.com.
Welcome to Paper Napkin Wisdom, where we share pearls of wisdom shared by some of the world's top entrepreneurs, leaders, and difference makers. Here's your host, Govind Jayaraman.
Hi, my name is Govind Jayaraman, and this is Paper Napkin Wisdom, episode 207. And I'm so excited you're here with us today. Imagine uncovering small, powerful ideas that can drive massive change in your life and business. That's what Paper Napkin Wisdom is all about, and today's episode might just be the thing you need. Our guest today is Annie Meehan. She's a powerful motivational speaker, author, and coach who has a way of lighting up every room she enters. As you listen, you might begin to notice how her unique framework resonates with your own experiences. Could it be that aligning your life with intention, structure, and compassion is the key to creating meaningful challenge and change in your world? Annie's journey from overcoming adversity to becoming a leader is nothing short of extraordinary. What would it be like to strengthen your leadership, build more meaningful connections, or navigate life's complexities with greater ease? As you consider this, grab your paper napkin, jot down your insights, and dive into the wisdom that Annie has to share. And when you're ready, share your thoughts on social media with the hashtag #PaperNapkinWisdom. Let's listen in and begin this journey with Annie. Annie Meehan, welcome to Paper Napkin Wisdom. I'm excited to be sitting with you today.
I'm excited to be here, Gavin. Thank you so much for having me as your guest. I love your concept.
Thank you. Well, hey, you are a talk show host. You call your show is a talk show, not a podcast. So this is your thing. So you know what this is about. But you've shared a very interesting paper napkin with me, and I'm curious what it means. P3 purpose formula or pineapple kindness.
Yeah.
Why did you share that with me?
Well, this is my paper napkin, and it came from this simple thought of, what if everybody has a story behind a story? And somebody called me a pineapple person, and then somebody taught me the pineapple poem, and it's cute, it's sweet and cute, but I think there's more to everything than cute and sweet. And so I'm always curious. We just mentioned curious. I am a very curious person. I ask a lot of questions. I ask myself, what could this simple poem teach us? And how could I change it from a poem to a principle? And P3 comes from a really deep place of my own pain, but also listening to thousands of people with pain and realizing people are defined by their pain or motivated by their pain. And for me, I think pain plus that energy that comes inside of us that can make us feel sick from the pain of a little disruption all the way to a devastation is passion. And some people think a passion is good, and it can be good, but it can also be negative. Passion can be used either way. So P3 is your pain plus your passion. And when you get to the equal sign, you decide. Will I be bitter the rest of my life, or will I use this pain to be better? And so I say pain plus passion can, if you so choose, become your purpose. And it's my driving force is that I use everything that's been hard or horrific in my life to impact other people for good.
Wow. So that's the P3 purpose formula, right? So pain plus passion equals purpose.
Yeah.
When most people feel pain, and they like advertising 101, people avoid pain to seek pleasure. But you got curious about your pain.
Yes.
Why? Like, what made you curious about it?
I think I sat in pain for the first 20 years of my life and really let it define me. Just growing up in a super dysfunctional, abusive family, I thought, oh my gosh, this is my story. And then I had a child, too young maybe, but perfect for me. And at 20 years old, I went, wait a minute, no, I am not going to repeat the cycle of where I came from. I'm going to break free and I'm going to rewrite it. And not only for myself, but once I figure it out, whenever that is, I'm going to teach other people to do it. And so that kind of became like, what if instead of when people bet against me, I heard, you're never going to make it. Instead, I heard, I dare you. So I mentally like started doing mental gymnastics and changing language, even though I didn't have the credibility to change it yet. I didn't have a degree. I didn't have any money. I didn't really know where I was going. I still started to like go, what if? And if what if for me, then what if for you? So yeah.
That's really okay. So you have a painful beginning.
Yes.
Which you don't focus on, and you say, I'm going to change this. It's almost like it ends with us, right? Like the Carl Herman book, right? It ends with us. This is the end.
Yeah.
And so that story must resonate with you if you're familiar with
I've
that.
not read it. No,
Oh.
I'm so busy writing books that I don't read as many. I wish I did, but I listen to things. I watch things. So yeah.
It's phenomenal. So anyway, that there's a moment in that reminds me of the conversation that you're having with yourself. So you're changing the cycle, right? You're starting a new cycle, let's say. Where did you start putting together the pieces of what you wanted to be in this cycle, this new way of thinking?
Yeah, there's a lot of things that happen. So one, I also owned gyms for 12 years later in my life, but I realized early on, sometimes we are not self-motivated because of not feeling worthy or because not knowing different. And so I always say, it's great if you do it for yourself. But the truth is that I did it for my son. Like I was like, I want to be a better person for my son. So becoming a mom at 20 was really a big turning point in my life. So at 20 years old, I became a mom and I thought, I want to give a better life than I ever had. At 18, I was invited to be on the Oprah Winfrey Show and I was considered an exceptional teenager. I'll tell you that I'm not positive that I was an exceptional teenager. But I think that a safe house that I spent a lot of time as when I was homeless as a youth showed me that there was something more. And Oprah was a huge turning point in my life because at 18, I'm on the show. To be honest, I didn't really receive what she said to me till I was about 20 when I had this son, my oldest, but Oprah looked at us. So the people on the show were kind of mean and rude to us because we were runaway youth is what they called us. Wasn't really true. But I had dropped out of high school to work 3 jobs to support my little brother so he could finish high school. And after the show, Oprah looked at us and she shared pieces of her story. She shared her father telling her, why do you always dream so big, Oprah? Just settle down. You're lucky to be on TV. She shared abuse with an uncle. But what she really did more than anything for me and the 2 other women on the show was she looked us in the eye and she spoke into us. First of all, she made me feel seen. She was the first woman to ever make me feel seen and valued. Second of all, she told us, don't let your past define your future. And she really made me think about that other people you sometimes look at on social media and TV, and it's like, oh, they always had an easy life. Wasn't true. And she said, listen, I've had to overcome some things. And I'm like, oh my gosh, if she had to overcome some things and she has a talk show, why not I? Why, if she can do this, can't anyone do this? Right. And so Oprah really made us feel seen and valued and poured into us. And she said the words to me when I was 18, but when I was 20, I remember the feeling of having a woman look at me and say something kind and positive because I hadn't really experienced that. And so that drove me personally to be better, to be a better mom, to be a better person. And then buying businesses and owning businesses and climbing corporate ladders, even when it didn't really make sense, but it was still happening, made me go, what if for anybody, we could take our pain, whatever that is, professional pain or personal, and turn it into our purpose and use that passion, that fuel to drive us to dream bigger, to climb higher, to create extraordinary.
It's amazing. So here's something. So your formula again is pain plus passion equals purpose. And you said that, you got curious about your pain, but you didn't, it took you a couple of years, right?
Yes,
before you could, before you could feel it.
Yeah.
And then when you felt it, you started to put together this formula. Isn't it interesting that sometimes for all of us, we have this thing that's said or done or whatever, and it
Yeah.
doesn't sink in until we can feel it, right? Like there's one thing to say, I'm thank you,
Yes.
I'm grateful, and there's
Yeah.
nothing to feel gratitude, right?
Yes.
And that's the difference you're talking about, isn't it? Am I
Yeah.
wrong?
No, 100%. Yeah, 100%. You have to, and you have to be in a place where you can receive it too. I think when we're living in that darkness, depression, self-doubt, even though people intend to be kind to us, we still can't hear it. And I often talk about where your mindset is, what you're focused on.
Mm.
When people say how many positives to a negative, I'm like, oh, no, no, no. It could be, I can have a room of 1,999 say you're amazing. One says ugly shoes. And if I'm not in a good place, all I hear is the dang ugly shoes and I miss the rest. But if I'm in a place of like, oh my gosh, I'm doing amazing work, you can receive those good words, whether it takes years or moments or different times in your life. So for sure.
Yeah. Okay. So you've done this very intentionally for a long period of time. And that
Yeah.
brings you to this, like, for those of you who are listening and not watching Annie, and Annie has a talk show because I believe she understands this, what I'm about to say really well, is that you exude this positive glow. Like it's just coming out of your pores. But I'll bet you that that's not accidental. That's something you have to earn every day, right, Annie?
Yes, yes, yes. And I think I love that you said every day because people are like, how did you arrive? I go, oh, no, no, no. Did not arrive. Will never arrive. Get up every morning and I go for a walk on the beach every morning. I don't move my body because I want to. Well, my dog bosses me around as part of it. But the other part is movement's medicine for me. Being in nature, being by water, I have learned the formula for my medicine cabinet, that it is music, that it is laughter, that it is movement, that it is being around positive people, that it is being an encourager. Part of my joy is helping other people. Like I think living generously brings me immense joy, immense joy. And so, and I want to say that in the purpose formula, this is important for our listeners. So pain plus passion brings us to an equals, but equals is where we make the choice. Not everybody's pain plus passion equals purpose. Some of it equals bitterness. It equals staying stuck because their pain plus their passion then leaves them in pain. Right. But for me, pain plus passion brings us to the equals. And that's where we decide whether it's easy or not. Like you said, every day we decide, I want to be better. My purpose is to see people, to value people, to nurture people, whether they are failing or struggling at business or personally. For me, my reward is that, oh my gosh, I can show them the bright side. I can give them a new perspective, even in the hard. So I want people to know it's not easy to get there.
Yeah. I love how you said equals as a choice, but I want to also make sure that people don't do something in the opposite. If you're feeling passion and you're feeling flow, you don't need to introduce pain to get to that equal, right? Right? Like you don't have to believe in the roller coaster. If you're good, you're good. You can still make the choice. But I love how you said equals as a choice, because just because you get to balance doesn't mean that you're done.
Yeah.
That's when you choose.
That's right.
So you do the work so that you can choose,
Yes.
not you do the work so that it's done. It's not like I'm finished, I'm out, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so you dropped this earlier on. For people listening who may not be as familiar, what is the pineapple poem?
Yeah. The pineapple poem is stand up straight, wear a crown, and be sweet on the inside. Be a pineapple. So someone called me a pineapple. They taught me the poem. I thought, oh, that's cute. But this is what I realized. Stand up straight. What I believe is that we live in a world of people looking down. We have people with their phone that they're looking down at. We have people with their headphones plugged in, and they have completely disconnected from humanity. Now, jokingly and somewhat serious, I tease my speaker friends that I request a middle seat on every flight. And I fly a lot because I figure if I irritate one person, I have another option to make a friend. But in a world looking down, just looking up makes people feel seen and valued. And I think that what used to be considered soft skills are really essential. We need to look at each other. We need connection and community. When I talk about the crown, wear your crown, what that's about is value yourself. Look in the mirror and say kind things about yourself instead of critiquing yourself. It all starts with us. But then look around the people around you. And even if we're different and we disagree, we can still value one another. We can still be kind to one another. And the sweet on the inside is about spreading kindness, encouragement, love, support. I think that it's easy for some people, not all people, to sit home and to type things on social media and never get to see how their words impact someone else's face and body. Or we can send a text and we don't know, or an email. And so I'm saying, be kind, be intentional in what you say, even when you need to have a stern conversation or redirect someone that works for you or something. We can do it with sweetness, with kindness. So it's really about intentional living, seeing, valuing, and being sweet or kind to one another. So that is the pineapple poem to the principle.
Okay, so I want to make sure I got it right. Stand up straight, wear your crown, sweet on the inside.
Yes. So the stand up straight is see people. So that's how I change it. The wear a crown is value yourself and others. And the be sweet on the inside is spread kindness first to yourself and then to others, wherever you go and however you communicate, spoken or written.
Very simple formula, but I think there's a lot, I mean, these children's books and children's poems and all these things are so brilliant most of the time. And this one is so great, right? The first one is just it's setting the stage, right? You can't set the stage unless you're looking at the right things. You're looking in the right place, and the right place isn't down at the ground, isn't in the mud and the dirt that you might be wallowing in. It's getting up, look around. It's more than that, right?
Yes.
When did you become familiar with the pineapple poem?
Yeah, in 2018, a friend, at the time I lived in Minneapolis, and a friend from Chicago was visiting, and she said, get to this store, you got to get this skirt. At the time, I always wore orange. Orange is the color of happiness. But this skirt was covered with pineapples, and she worked with children. And she said, I said, I get the orange, the happiness. Why the pineapple? She said, you're such a pineapple person in the world, Annie. And you spread such kindness. And I said, oh, I don't know the poem. So she taught me the poem in 2018. In 2019, I took the poem and turned it into a book because I started living like a pineapple, and people started telling me how they were going to change their life because of what I taught them and what I showed them. So I started sharing some of those stories in a short book called The Pineapple Principle. In 2021, I was invited to do a TED Talk, Life Lessons from a Pineapple. So today I've done so many talks about how to be a pineapple in a prickly world, how to be sweet like a pineapple, college commencements, high school commencements, and just taught people that it's not 7 steps or 21 steps or 33. Just look up. Just look at people.
Just look up, right?
Just look up. Yeah.
So now let's go back and forth to your story again. You're 18, Oprah gives you this message. It takes you to your 20, likely having a seminal moment, holding your child, saying that's a pretty good time to look up, right? I mean, nothing makes you look up faster than a child, right? So you're holding your child and looking up, and did the 3 steps come naturally to you at that stage? Or I know you didn't learn them until later, but when you look back at what happened for you, was it a straight line? Was it harder than that? What happened?
So much harder. I wish it was a straight line. More than anything, I think I looked at him, and you're right, for me, and maybe for you, without a doubt, holding a child and looking at him, there's something miraculous. There's something so beyond yourself. And I had not taken the best care of myself due to having a rough beginning. And so in that moment, looking at him, I thought, oh my gosh, you're so precious. You deserve the best of me. And the only way for me to be the best of me is to take better care of myself. And I don't have to be where I came from. And I think in this moment, holding my son, I'm thinking this, and I remember Oprah telling hers. And I remember feeling like, oh my gosh, lots of people have hard stories. It doesn't define them. And so I think it was like the beginning of this, like, what could I do? Who could I be? How can I love him? And of course, it did not happen easily or directly. I had lots of zigzags and still do throughout my life, but it made me want to live with more intention. It made me want to decide what I teach. I teach different things, but one of the main kind of core foundations of what I teach is rewrite the stories that no longer serve you. And so I had to look back over my life and say, wow, that was a message I was given as a small child. Did that serve me? That was a message I was given in school. Did it serve me? That was a message I was given climbing the corporate ladder. Does it serve me? And so, and what's true about it, maybe there was parts, but rewrite it. And also think about how I treated myself mattered so much about how I treated my son, right? And then how I treated other people, and just kept expanding. Today, I'm married. I have 3 kids that are adults. But yeah, it was, and climbing the corporate ladder and being a woman in a male dominated financial world and going, so what? Don't let that be an excuse. Use that to drive you to the next level. Use that to drive you. And I do believe everyone has some pain, just the degrees may vary and the seasons in our life might, but we all have something and we have to decide, is this as good as it gets? And for me, I was like, never. I'll always be climbing. What else can I do? How can I impact more lives? So,
yeah, I mean, you said a lot right there. We talked about speaking in run-on sentences, and there we go. Well done. So, but one of the things that I sort of grabbed from what you said is how I treated myself mattered to how I treated others. And a lot of people don't get that, right? If you look at yourself as unworthy, well, let's talk about that. If you're saying you're stupid, you're not good enough, you're this, you're that, you can never pump anyone's tires because you've got nothing there, right?
right.
So how you treated yourself mattered. You couldn't hear the message from Oprah when you were 18 because you weren't treating yourself very well.
That's right.
Despite the fact that, you were a teenager on the up and all this kind of stuff, but outwardly you were doing great things from the world's perspective. But we're all measured against our own capacity. Your capacity increases when the way you look at yourself changes, right? And I think that's one of the things that you say, even with the poem, right? Stand up straight. Look at yourself differently.
Yeah.
Right? And then wear your crown. Thinking that there's a crown there is different than wearing it. Right?
Yeah.
Even going back to your earlier comment about, just saying the right things, feeling it is different. Feeling it was the important part for you. I really think that's amazing. So something else that you said, and I wonder about this. You said, you did it for your son. Great. And you said, you sort of slipped very quickly and said, well, it's better to do it for yourself. But, I did it for my son. And then again, later on, you deserve the best from me is another thing you said to your imaginary son in your arms. And you got twice emotional when you said that. Let's talk about that. Why is it not good enough just to do your best for someone else?
Yeah. And that's what I was going to say about owning a gym is I remembered being a young mom and that I did it first for him. But it was when it transitioned that it became not just about him. No matter how much I loved him, I wanted to love myself. And I had to really learn to do that because I didn't believe I was worthy, because I didn't really believe I was valuable. And I had no proof. I had no parents or relatives or friends or people that could say that to me. I had to figure it out myself. So I say that, when I started working with clients and they'd say, I don't know, I just don't have time. And I'd say, do it for someone you love. If you can't do it for yourself, start for someone you love. Then get to the point that as much as you love them, you love yourself because you're giving from a place of depleted, just like you said. But why do I get emotional about it? It was and sometimes still is a lifelong journey of that worth. What I know is when I am taking great care of myself, I feel so much more valuable. What I know is when I'm doing a diversity conversation with clients, I'm saying, if we don't like us, everybody's words crush us. But if we learn to like us, it's okay if other people don't like us. In fact, it is expected. Not everyone's going to like me. I am fast. I am animated. I am big picture and on the go all the time. That is not everybody's cup of tea. And that's okay. Me learning to love myself and go, it's okay. It's okay if not everybody else loves you. I think there's this place between self-hatred or doubt or dislike to self-love, to learning to love yourself enough and accept that you are messy and complicated and gorgeous and amazing and tragic all at the same time. That when we bring our full self with our best and our worst and accept ourselves, it allows some people to accept us and some people to honestly move away, and that's okay. And that is where I know that I have a unique mind. I know that my style of hard work and business is not for everybody. And that's okay. We can be friends with people that are different. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying that when you like yourself, you take better care of yourself. When you like yourself, negativity matters less. Not at all, but a lot less. And when you like yourself, you get up and you go, how can I always tell myself, be good to yourself and be good to at least one more person before you go to bed tonight. Now, that doesn't include all the 27 mistakes I'll make along the way. But if I can do those two things, be good to myself and be good to at least one other person, like I've won that day. I have won enormously that day. So I hope that answers your question. But yeah, it's a journey and it's emotional for me because I feel so deeply when I meet people that really don't like themselves, because it brings me back to a very dark and sad season in my life. And my heart, that's what drives me, is to help other people never feel what I felt.
You're so intentional with everything you say. And I know you work at this. You have called that bad period a season 2 or 3 times. Why did you choose that word, Annie?
I am intentional. Because I think we go through, I think that I've learned that we go through seasons. I think in the midst of a great season, there can still be sadness. And in the midst of a sad season, there can still be greatness. And that's what I'm intentional about, is I look back to planting. I'm a really big believer in planting. Plant seeds every day. Some will sprout, some will die, some will grow to oak trees. So it was a season of my life, but it was like a winter of my life. And that coldness, the door has closed. It occasionally cracks open, but it was a season of dark and cold. And I occasionally visit there, but I never go back.
That's beautiful. Let me ask you another thing. You said you had to do something, but you had no proof that you could do it, right? And there's a really great paper napkin from a dear mentor of mine, a beautiful person. Her name is Gina Mollicone Long, and she says, "Become who you are before you have the proof." And that is the journey, right? Isn't it?
Yes.
And we never get the proof until after you've become it, before you've done it, because that's when it happens. Courage shows up when you show up. You know, all these things. So you had no proof, but you had a vision for where you wanted to go. How did you form that vision, coming from a place where maybe you didn't have as many role models, or let's put it this way, you didn't accept the role models that were given to you? Like Oprah gave herself to you as a role model and said inspiring things to you, but you couldn't feel it until some years later. So how did that relationship change? How did you find that?
I was invited to be on a show once called Genuine Hero, and nobody's really my hero. I don't like that word. It doesn't resonate with me. So they're like, how about coach, mentor, all these things. And then I had to go back from where I was all the way back to my beginning. And this was my word. My word was who lit my path. And I started to notice, I became a noticer of people that showed up for a moment. A man, when I had a paper out that weighed more than I did, and he gave me a butterscotch and a nickel, Mr. Ken. Mrs. Rico, that leaned over me in 3rd grade when I didn't know how to read and said, "Hey, you're good at math. It's okay that you don't know how to read. I'm leaving. You're going to make me cry. I'm leaving here today to jump on a flight for a woman that became a mom and a mentor to me. And she was my best friend's mom growing up. And it didn't matter in junior high and high school, beginning of high school, I spent a lot of time at their house. And it didn't matter if it was a Tuesday or Wednesday. Didn't matter if it was a weeknight. If I needed a place to sleep, she would always let me stay over. And she always had bowls of candy in her cupboard and food. And we were always allowed to eat without asking question, which for me, those two things were huge in my life. I grew up the middle of 7 kids raised by a single mom that struggles with mental health, undiagnosed and untreated, in a hoarder house in extreme poverty. And Chris role modeled to me what love felt like, what welcome. And she disciplined us too when we were in junior high. Listen, you girls, but I'm going to her funeral and I'm thinking like, I was thinking about all the lessons she taught me. Like, as silly as a bowl of candy is, if you come to my house, there's always a bowl of candy, because Chris let me eat when I was hungry without question. And Chris showed me these things, and people showed me these things. You know, Bill from the Bridge that nominated me to be on Oprah and said, Annie Meehan, Annie Sloan at the time, is an extraordinary young girl. I did not feel extraordinary. I felt like a loser. I had dropped out of high school. I'm working 3 jobs, you know, exhausted, but doing it so I can support myself and help my little brother finish high school. Like, there were these people along the way. I never had like a long-term stable person in my life, but there were these people that dropped light into my darkness and allowed me to take one more step forward, that lit my path, that encouraged me. And when you don't have a mom or dad or any grandparents or, even my older siblings, they couldn't help me because they were trying to survive themselves. You look for the moment. And I think that's what guided me, is I took a sliver from here and there and thought, I want to take all of that and give that to my children. I want to be a nurturer in a way that my kids and their friends and their friends' friends and people that encounter me feel loved and seen by me in a way that I never felt as a child.
Oh, that's so beautiful. And if you're just listening, we're both sobbing, so that's okay. There's something that was really important that I need to go back to in light of the light. Philly, yes. In light of the light, you talked about something that you have almost like a KPI, your daily KPI. Be good to yourself and be good to at least one other person. Is there anything else on that list?
Self-care is huge for me. It is. I often ask people, what's in your medicine cabinet? What do you need to get through the day? And prayer. I'm a woman of faith. God believed. That's another thing. Like, I always think about when I started listening to what God thought of me instead of what I thought of me, it changed everything for me personally. So I always, every morning starts with quiet time of prayer, reading devotionals, reading scripture, something, fresh air, always movement. Movement is my medicine. Music's my medicine. I sing really loud, really bad, but really loud. I interact with people. I do. I try to like reach out and say something kind, or I love to donate. I love to give generously, whether it's a cup of coffee or money or just random things that bring me joy to know I'm helping someone, because people have helped me along my path to get to where I am,
And you did that for me. I had some technical problems before we started today, and you were kind, and generous, and beautiful. And I have loved our time together, Annie. Thank you for coming.
Thank you. I appreciate you doing this. Thank you for your idea.
Thank you for tuning in to episode 207 of Paper Napkin Wisdom, where we had the pleasure of learning from Annie Meehan. Imagine how your life might change if you embraced her P3 framework: purpose, formula, or pineapple kindness. What could change in your life with small intentional actions? Could it be all that it takes to unlock a life of purpose and growth? Let's take a moment to reflect on some of these takeaways. What truly matters to you, and how might aligning your actions with your values transform your life? What routines could you craft to support your goals while maintaining balance? How could you approach challenges with both strength and sweetness to improve your relationships? What's one step outside your comfort zone that could unlock growth? How might leading with kindness inspire those around you? As you reflect on these questions, consider how you might integrate Annie's wisdom into your life. What if these small shifts were keys to achieving big results? You're probably already thinking about what resonated with you, and if not, why not subscribe to Paper Napkin Wisdom on your favorite podcast platform and leave a review? Your feedback helps us continue to bring ideas that inspire change. And think about someone in your life who might benefit from Annie's message. Could sharing this episode make a difference for them? And here's a simple challenge. Grab a napkin and write down the insight that stood out most to you. What will you do to bring that idea to life? Share it on social with the hashtag #PaperNapkinWisdom. You never know whose life you might inspire. Until next time, consider how small ideas might lead to big results for you. The journey to transformation begins with just one step, and that step is yours to take. Make it a great day.
If you're running a retail business, don't let disorganized order fulfillment cause chaos. Use ShipStation instead. From running a business out of your garage to multiple warehouses, ShipStation is ideal for every phase of your growth. Save time with one login for all your stores and by automating tasks. Plus, you'll get the best shipping rates from global carriers. Calm the chaos with the shipping software that delivers. Start a free trial at shipstation.com/audio. That's shipstation.com/audio.
Marketing is hard. But I'll tell you a little secret. It doesn't have to be. Let me point something out. You're listening to a podcast right now, and it's great. You love the host. You seek it out and download it. You listen to it while driving, working out, cooking, even going to the bathroom. Podcasts are a pretty close companion. And this is a podcast ad. Did I get your attention? You can reach great listeners like yourself with podcast advertising from Libsyn Ads. Choose from hundreds of top podcasts offering host endorsements, or run a pre-produced ad like this one across thousands of shows to reach your target audience in their favorite podcasts with Libsyn Ads. Go to libsynads.com, that's LIBSYN, ads.com today.